I used to think that if I did enough healing, if I did enough self-love, enough therapy, enough journaling, then I would never feel insecure. But then I turned 30 and I realized that insecurity isn't something that goes away. Really, it's something that you will always deal with, but it's how you deal with it and how loud and quiet you choose to let it be. So this video is on how I handle my insecurities and how it still shows up in my life. Sometimes insecurity is very obvious. It's comparing yourself to how you look. It's wondering if you're successful enough, if you're skinny enough. And those are like very obvious ways that insecurity shows up. And for me, insecurity is much sneakier now. Insecurity tends to be like, am I doing enough? Will I fail? Will people like it? Is it going to be successful? Insecurity now looks more like self-doubt in the things that I do instead of like how I compare myself to others or what I look like. And you can have so much evidence of the contrary, and yet still insecurity will let you like insecurity to me is still convincing you or trying to convince you of otherwise. You can be deeply loved, deeply supported, deeply successful, and yet still insecurity, if you allow it, if you let it, will run amok in your life. Recently, I've noticed that insecurity is coming up in a few areas of my life. Specifically, it's coming in my coaching business, in my YouTube channel, and in my relationship. And where the insecurity lies is that it's like, is it enough? Am I doing enough? And it's like the self-induced pressure that we put on ourselves to be like, am I feeling like that in and of itself is insecurity. And it comes from like the most wholesome place of wanting to do well and be well, but that those questions are inherently insecure. If I knew in my core that I was doing enough and that I was popping, I wouldn't be having those questions. And the key realization that I had was that it was not evidence-based. So just because I wasn't growing at the speed that I wanted to doesn't mean that I was failing. It's the story and the meaning that I was attaching to the results. And so if a video didn't do well, I'm like, oh, I'm not doing well. And it's like, actually, no, I am growing. I'm just not growing at the speed that I want. The insecurity isn't like evidence-based. It's the story that I'm telling myself. It's the meaning that I'm attaching to it. And I could have so much evidence of the contrary, but it's the story in which I'm telling myself that I'm not far enough along, or I'm not doing enough, or this is not good enough, even when none of those things are actually true. And the biggest shift for me is to realize that insecurity is not something to be fixed. It's an emotion to be felt, because underneath insecurity is really just fear. Fear of not being enough, fear of failing, fear of being rejected or disliked. Behind any insecurity is a deeper fear. And so instead of trying to reject it, I'm curious about it. What do I actually feel? What do I actually desire? What do I actually need in the moment? When you explore things from a place of curiosity, you give it less power. Because honestly, insecurity could get real big. It can become a monster in the room. And it's like, instead of letting this monster in my house run amok, I ask, what is it that you actually want? What do you actually need? And is this actually true? And when I meet myself with compassion instead of criticism or judgment for being insecure, it loses that much power. And one of the things that has helped me most with my confidence is doing it anyway. Confidence is not the absence of insecurity. It's just taking action regardless. It's posting the video. It's making the call. It's doing the thing, even when I am doubting myself. At the end of the day, the insecurity can dial up or down regardless. But what I'm going to do with my life and how I choose to live it, I'm still going to push on. I try my best not to let the insecurity mute, dim, and like limit my life. Because you really can. You really can just be like, okay, I'm just going to stay home and I'm not going to do anything and I'm not going to post it. No, I'm not going to give that monster as much power over me. I'm just going to do it regardless. And I think that's really what is courage is doing it even still. And I think that is so beautiful. If you have been feeling insecure lately, know that you are not alone, and know that there is nothing you need to do or achieve or become in order to be worthy. Your breath is your signal that you are worthy and deserving of the best in life. And really, your insecurities truly are just an invitation to love yourself more, to offer yourself even more compassion, to really explore what it is, the need that you're asking your body and your soul is asking to be fulfilled. And instead of even viewing it as a monster that needs to be dimmed, it can be you viewed as a friend that needs some love, because that's really what it is. It's always an invitation to love yourself more. Always. Even the worst of insecurities is just an invitation to give yourself more love and more compassion. And instead of looking at yourself as a problem to be fixed, it's an invitation to look at yourself as a person to be loved. You are not a problem. You are a person. I'll say that again. You are not a problem to be fixed. You are a person to be loved. And that is what an insecurity is. It's an opportunity to love yourself more and to ask yourself, am I going to let it ruin and run my life, or am I going to do things even still? Because when you do things even still, you lower the power that it has over you. I love you, and I hope this video resonated with you. And I'm sending you so much love. Sending you so much conviction, so much willingness to do things even still. And if you liked this video, please comment or like it, and know that I'll be back with more videos on how you can actually love yourself more deeply so that you can experience more true, meaningful joy. Bye.